And if you're just tuning in, you are listening live to the Angel Rock on 107.7 in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. And if you've been to the show before, I'm so glad that you're returning. If you're new to the show, a little bit about my show, The Angel Rock. It's what I like to do. I say cover all avenues of the paranormal, but actually, the show we're having tonight really doesn't have to do with the paranormal, but it's maybe not always in the mainstream. But I like to feature people that are doing really cool, kind of amazing things that make a difference. And I think usually a positive effect for people and even humanity. Now, a little bit about myself. I'm from Canada. Even though we're in New Orleans, I want to give a huge shout out to Joe Montaldo, who's the owner of UPRN. He is also our producer. He's a host of many of his own shows on the network, but he makes my job really easy because he does all the hard work. I just get to sit and talk, which I love to do, which this person can attest to when I do introduce them. A little bit about myself. I am a psychic medium. I'm also a crystal Reiki energy healer, an Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and I'm a registered nurse. Now, tonight, I've been trying to get him on the show for a while. I love him dearly. I'm just a wee bit biased. You're going to be seeing him, but I'm going to be calling him a she as the rest of the show progresses. This is my son, Logan, and he otherwise is known as Shaela Vie. So welcome, Logan. So you're probably wondering, you might want to explain, well, before we even go any further, I forget to remind people, if you're listening, come on over to United Public Radio Network's YouTube channel. You can watch the show, and you're going to want to watch. And we also have a chat room, so you can be part of the show. You can ask questions, comments, whatever that may be. Now, if you're already watching, you may think, okay, what has Logan got on his eyebrows? So you want to explain that, Logan?
So, when doing drag, one important thing that some queens do is whether they glue their brows down or they shave it down, it's to help give yourself a little bit more eyelid space for when you're putting your eyeshadow on. So then that way You're not keeping it just to here. And for people like me who have hooded eyes, it's really important to have that extra space. Otherwise, it's just being absorbed by your giant brow bone.
Yes. Plus, you have fairly thicker eyebrows as well, too, right?
Yeah.
When you don't shave them down. Now, some people may wonder, why am I having somebody on with drag? And you know what? I think drag is becoming more mainstream because even when I was Logan's age and younger, there were drag queens, but one of the queens that was well known, which is still sort of a forefront runner or mother of drag, if you will, RuPaul, I remember. And back in the day, we never knew if RuPaul was a man or a woman because she or he, depending on whether he's appearing in his drag or he's appearing, say, in a suit and whatever else. He had quite a few club hits out there, and he was kind of a mainstream in a lot of the clubs. I believe it was in New York. I'm right about that, Logan?
It was New York, and he'd go with Lady Bunny and Michelle Visage, and
yes,
Michelle Visage and Lady Bunny are both still kicking.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, we're going to get into a little bit about that and why you decided to get into drag and different types of drag and anywhere else the conversation goes. We've got people asking questions. So, yes, I don't know if anybody watches. I'm sure there is. We have quite a few different people from all around the world, actually, from different countries watching live or they'll watch on the replay. So there's quite a few people probably that are fans of Drag Race. And Drag Race only used to be in the US. Then was it Singapore? Was that where they, pardon?
Thailand.
Thailand, thank you. Then it branched out to Thailand. We also had one season, I believe, in Canada here, right?
One in Canada, and then they're just about to premiere the second season of the UK one.
I was just moving to the UK. That was the next where it kind of followed a progression. So it's really kind of catching on all over the world. And actually, there's some pretty big stars from seasons because they've had all-star seasons and people's favorites are in there. And then a lot of them have branched out to do makeup lines. There's all kinds of merch lines, you name it. And ladies, especially, or gentlemen, even if you want to wear makeup, I mean, it doesn't matter who wants to wear it. It's just to enhance your features. I have found I have learned a lot of tricks from drag queens, including my own son. I remember the first time he was thinking about getting into drag, and I was showing him a few makeup
Oh
tips.
no,
And I,
hold on. The first time I said, okay, I'm gonna be in a drag show, it was, oh my god, when is it? When am I coming? Oh my god, am I gonna be front row? Sorry, that's what it was the first time. Just to cut you off.
yes, yes, he is right. You know what? I've always been very supportive. That's where I was going with this. I've been very excited, very supportive. I don't push my way into things, but in the beginning, Logan's much taller and much broader built than I am. I'm about 5'9". And how tall are you now, Logan?
6'6" in heels.
Yeah, 6'6" in heels. Yeah, that would be about right. So, we anything I had that was stretchy or short. But I remember the first time we were kind of delving into makeup, I said to him, and I still remember this. This is one skill I thought I would never be teaching you when you were little. So we've kind of bonded over it a little bit, even more so. We're very close, anyways. I am with both my sons, but to over makeup, right? But I've learned some things from you. He's even done my makeup a couple times, and he's done a great job.
Didn't they do your
So,
Halloween one last year before COVID or something?
what's that?
Didn't they do your Halloween one like 2 years ago or like the year before last? I can't remember.
Yeah, you did do one of my Halloween looks for yeah, that was long before COVID. We don't live in the same city anymore either. So you're going to get ready on camera while we're talking, right? Okay, will you just carry on? So I guess the first thing I'm going to ask for a list, or we've got a few people in the chat first, so I want to give a shout out to them. We've got Zach Mann. He says, "Good evening, everybody. My fiance is a huge fan of Drag Race. She's always wanted to go to a drag show." Oh, Zach, when you come to visit us, like we said, you're going to come, you and your fiance. I won't say your name. I never say people's names unless, they print them in the chat or whatever. You said you're coming for some Canadian beer. You're going to bring the cigars. If we ever get live performances again and Logan's performing, we'll have to go see them. Logan's actually performed with some of the Drag Race performers, but we're going to talk about that in a sec. I want to give a shout out to someone that's very close to my heart, Sam, who's next door. So she says, I love that. Yeah, so you've even performed with some of the Drag Race performers, right? You want to let people know who they were?
That was not this past June, because obviously this past June has been COVID, but it was for the 2019 Thunder Pride show, and it was with Roxy Andrews, Dusty Ray Bottoms. Why can't I remember the other two? Hold on. Oh, Layla McQueen.
Yeah.
And then we were supposed to have Jujubee. However, the note that Thunder Pride had received was, "Oh, we're very sorry. A very prestigious filming opportunity has arisen." And instantly I was like, okay, so Jujubee's on All Stars, which she was. She was on All Stars 5.
Mm-hmm.
And she's replaced with Pandora Box,
Mm-hmm.
which I've heard mixed opinions about Pandora, honestly. After the show, they're like, "Oh, she's so mean." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? She was the nicest person in the world."
Yeah, because I had pictures taken with them too, and you did. And yeah, they were all really great performers. There was local talent here as well. Mm-hmm. And I want to get into some of the, actually, Sam says the OMG, sorry, when. She says, OMG, when. I know what she means. That was before I moved here, Sam. I didn't know you then into this neighborhood.
I'm sorry.
I want to get into, though, some of the different types of drag. Like we have the Boulet brothers, but there's also, you can have bio kings and queens. You can have drag kings. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that for me, at least the difference between them?
So main difference for drag king to drag queen is obviously one is biologically or generally identifies as a female dressing up as a male, or a male dressing up as a female. However, it's very common to have people who may be of the same gender as the person that they're performing as. So, for example, there's a couple of female to male trans people who actually continue to pursue drag as a drag king opposed to a drag queen. For example, there was Landon Sider in Dragula season 3. He's trans. And then all through Drag Race, there's been quite a few different drag queens who have come out as trans on the show or prior to being on the show. And even on the most recent season, the first trans male contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race got Mick. He's on season 13.
Oh, cool. You want to let them know what bio kings and queens are, because this isn't just for people, members of the LGBTQ community. I mean, it's pretty inclusive, isn't it? Especially with bio kings and queens.
Oh yeah, no, bio king and bio queen is like, somebody who typically identifies as female, dressing as a drag queen, but like over accentuating their features. So it's not just some girl putting on eyeshadow and lipstick and calling herself a drag queen. It's going larger than life on their face, making it like boom, pop, I'm in your face. For a bio king, that's not as common, but it still exists. There's men who dress up and accentuate their features, which I mean, you could almost class them as burlesque in a sense, because they're trying to be as sexy as possible on stage.
Hang on here. I may have to grab another cord. My cord's decided not to work on me, and I don't want it to die on me, you guys, so I can see your comments.
She's looking for a cord, just so everybody knows what I'm doing. First, I put on primer, because when you're doing normal painting,
explain that while I grab a cord. Okay.
Applying paint on there. After that, I'm now putting on foundation. I like to use a full coverage foundation, specifically because I have naturally dark hair, as you can tell, and my beard area winds up being blue. So my foundation actually winds up having a little bit more of a yellow tinge to it to actually cancel out my blue undertones that I have in my skin. And usually for anybody who's looking for foundation tips, you want to go right on your, like a shade lighter than your skin tone, and then for your concealer you want to go one shade higher than that, so 2 shades higher than your regular skin tone, and then for your contouring you're going 2 shades darker, well, 1 to 2 shades darker, depending on how chiseled you want these cheeks and this forehead.
Okay, but you know what, so for people, say even for men especially that are looking into doing drag and dressing as a queen, what are some of the things that you're using? Because you guys have coarser skin, you've got facial hair to hide, because what type of products are you using? Is it special products or?
So I am a little bit bougie and I like to spend money.
Yes.
Family. But for most people, what you want to do is, again, depending on your skin type, if you're like more fair skinned, you might not need like a full coverage foundation, just even like a medium to full or a medium light, just something that's going to at least cover your face and give you that blank canvas to work off of. Like I use
go ahead
product names. I was like, do you want product names?
It doesn't matter, it's okay, you can say that.
Well, I use Makeup Forever because it's extremely thick, and if you have like blue undertones in your beard area or on your eyebrows, for example, you can actually color correct with just a smidgen of orange or yellow, because that's if you color spreading each other out, blue and yellow, and then purple and orange, I think.
I don't know all these color correction things. So Zachman says in the chat, he added, you can always say my fiance's name, Lorilei. She thinks you're awesome. Thank you, Zach. So it's Jamie. And Sam added, take me makeup shopping and teach me, LOL. Well, we can have family members that work at Sephora too, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And she's quite talented too. She's in management there. It's my niece, so it's kind of a family. Well, makeup is, anyways. I always usually wear makeup when I'm on screen. Now, you mentioned Dragula. Now, that's kind of an alternative genre of drag for people that might not know what that is.
Yeah. So Dragula is kind of like the spooky, like you want to be as creepy and as gory as possible for drag, like not just looking to be like, oh, hey, I'm the next superstar. You're wanting to be like a drag monster, kind of, is what they try to aim for.
Right.
So there was one. Oh gosh, I could remember her name. Yovska.
Oh, Gashka, yeah.
She is like, holy, she does the most abstract out there. Like, you would think, okay, there's no way this person's gonna be for me. I liked her. I liked her a lot.
Or a human being, for that matter. Like she did, like some of the stuff that she's done, or he, depending on, I guess she goes by she, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So some of the stuff that she's done, it would beat out any horror makeup artist. Like they're just phenomenal looks if you're into that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, how do you spell her name's spelled really odd? She's Canadian, isn't she, Yovska?
Yeah, she was like one of the first Canadians on the show, I think, and she's Yovska or something like that.
Yeah, check her out because there's some pretty cool stuff. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm looking. I don't want to lose you guys because I had this on, and I've never had this happen during a show. Thank God. Logan's very familiar. I was just telling Joe he's graduated from multimedia and college with this kind of stuff. So I hate to do this to you, Logan. I'm going to grab one more cord because I don't want to lose our audience here, so we can include them. So you can just let people know what you're doing a little bit too.
Hey, well, I'm highlighting. So one thing that I actually learned from watching Ms. Cracker's makeup tutorial is from your lightest lights to your darkest darks, because otherwise you're gonna look a little backwards. Like right now, I look like the scariest thing. I probably look terrifying because right here's white, right here's white, right here's white. Part of it is making sure that you're highlighting the highest. When you're highlighting the most forward part of your face. So places people are going to be seeing is you want to watch for your cheeks, like any expressions that you can do. Your nose is basically just out there. People are going to be seeing that all night long. You want to highlight your forehead like I'm trying to do right now. I just tend to do like a little bit of a circle and then blend it out. People are going to be looking at your lips.
But the beauty of makeup, right, Log, that I like anyways, is that you can hide or accentuate anything with makeup.
Oh, I learned how to hide this double chin pretty quick, honey.
No, but it's true. And we're seeing actually, I don't know if any of you gentlemen listening out there have seen this, but I've been noticing there's more skincare lines that are geared towards men, or even some makeup products, because there are actually quite a few men that wear products that aren't looking for to be a drag king, a queen, or anything like that, because it can hide certain things that maybe you're not comfortable with, or heck, I've seen people that have had a really, say, unusual nose that maybe they don't really like, that they can use makeup to pretty well change the shape using the right, combination of contouring, highlighting, and so on, right?
Oh, I proved it for a friend of mine who has broken their nose multiple times, and I was like, oh, hey, we can fix that with makeup, right? And he's like, no way. So I put it on him, contoured his nose, and I contoured it straight for him, and he was like,
how did you do that?
Yeah, literally, he was like, how did you do that? What? And it was literally just a matter of like, okay, his nose went slightly this way, so I'm just going to very slight bending back to center. And then when you looked head on, it looked like he had a perfectly straight nose. And then you look at him from the side and it's just,
Yeah, no, but it works. So what got you interested in drag? What made you decide to get into it?
So between going to a couple of shows, however, was terrifying the first couple of times because you don't know what you're walking into in your first drag show. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with watching how all these people transformed from, oh, okay, that's what they look like on the street. That's what they look like on stage. Okay, what the heck? The other thing is my first season I ever actually watched of Drag Race was season 8, because that was when Netflix only had season 8. Mm-hmm. I'm using the wrong product. And that was kind of what pushed me over, was seeing all of them being like, oh my gosh, wait, oh my gosh, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And so then first time that I tried drag was courtesy of Erica.
Oh, yes, Erica. She did a really good job. And he's quite a bit transformed.
No. The first time I looked like a peacock threw up on me.
That is true. I remember I have that picture. I think he has one of my tops on, and he didn't have a wig at the time. And yes, that But that's kind of about a drag persona, right? When you pick a personality and you develop a whole persona, kind of like what you wear, the makeup you use, right? The looks that you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, because that was back when I wasn't even Shaela Vie at that point. I was my old drag name, and then that was Alicia Sleaze, and then I changed my thanks to a promoter here in town who helped me decide on a name finally, instead of like, okay, which one do you like more? Which one do you like more? And he said, oh, I like Shaela Vie more, and I was like, you know what? I think I can work with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So, but that's kind
my
of the
brand.
thing with it, right? Doing a play on words a little bit with the names. Usually people kind of do that.
Some people do. Some people don't like to. They just like to be something that they thought of. For example, like milk,
Yeah.
or um, or I don't know. There's other ones that are just like very creative. Like,
Well,
for example,
Roxy Andrews is kind of it's spelt different, but that's not, I guess you could pull Julie Andrews and somebody kind of Roxy, I guess, right?
I'm more going off of um, like Tina Burner,
Mm-hmm.
Tasha,
Tina Burner. Tina
uh,
Burner.
Etta Lettuce.
There's a few names that are a little racy to mention on radio here that we can't, but they're quite funny if you look into them. There was something else I was going. Oh, yeah, one of our favorites. They actually have a show on YouTube that it also airs on. And please forgive me because I don't subscribe, so I forget the name of the channel that you can watch to get their show.
Oh,
It's called
what
and it's with Trixie Mattel and
Katya.
Katya. They were both on Drag Race. They were on Drag Race and then on All Stars. What were you going to say? Sorry, I know you were going to say something.
Season 7 for Katya and Trixie's initial debut,
Mm-hmm.
and Katya was on season 2 for All Stars,
Mm-hmm.
and Trixie was on season 3 and won season 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're also best friends. They've done a little bit of a documentary, but they're almost more comedy queens, if you'll call them that, right? Because there's different types of queens. Like I mentioned comedy queens. Some are very high fashion type of queens. Go, you're much better at this. So what other types of genres can you do within, say, being a drag queen?
There's comedy, there's campy, there's trashy, grunge, punk, basically any style of music you can think of. There's a drag version of it and more.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the beauty of it all. Like when I've gone to, they've just been local, but when I've gone, everybody seems to be surprised that Shaela Vie's mom comes, but of course I'm going to come and support her when she's Shaela Vie. But the thing is, there's all ages there, all different backgrounds, whatever it may be, but everybody's just there to have a good time, lots of fun, great music. You get a lot of entertainment. Um, Sometimes they do some incredible moves. Like I still isn't one of the big one a death drop from these big high heights. You might want to explain that. What's that?
I still can't do that.
Well, I could see why. For those of you, I don't know how to describe it best, but a death drop is basically you're sort of standing and next thing you're on the ground and one leg sort of bent up behind you, like right behind you. And I'm not doing it justice explaining it, but it's incredible. You got some really talented people that are doing this. What's the name of the network that carries and it'll carry Drag Race and stuff like that?
Sense and Out TV Go.
That's it too. So with drag and COVID, what's happening with that, Logan, for people? Are they having shows online?
Some people have resorted to doing shows online, but it's very hard to get like a license to do it because of how, like, with the music copyright and such.
I was thinking that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people are just taking their chances on Instagram and such and doing live shows with putting up their PayPals or their Venmos. However, some people are just resulting in like, okay, we're not going to do anything. However, there's a whole bunch of drama right now with Trinity the Tuck.
Oh, of course. anybody that knows who she is.
Oh, she went on a blocking spree because Pheromone called her out because Trinity said, my job is no different than a server or an essential worker. Like, I need to pay to make my bills and everything. And Pheromone straight up called her out, was like, no, like, it's not worth it. Like, you're forcing people to pack into a club and you're just basically saying, I don't care about COVID.
Right. So, yeah, so there's a lot of drama, I have to say. But you know what? I think with anything in the entertainment business, you do tend to see drama, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Never fails.
well, that name that you said, Farah Moan. So her name is spelled like Farah and then Moan, but that's a play on the word pheromone, right? So this is some of these interesting names that they come out with. Like Trixie Mattel, for those of you who might not know who she is, she how many pairs of eyelashes does she put on? She has the most unusual drag look. It's almost like a Barbie doll in a way, but it's not. How many pairs does she put on?
14 on the top, 14 on the top, 2 sets on the bottom.
It's just blows your mind. But like I said, it kind of comes into an evolution. Like, weren't you thinking of having another character name you thought of for a little bit
Oh,
there?
yeah, Jillian Volts.
What was it?
Jillian Volts.
Jillian Volts. Are you still kind of mulling that over, or what are you thinking?
That's when I have my beard.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
yes, because there are some queens that do keep their beards.
Yep, like my good drag sister Amber Ale, she does bearded drag. So does my drag mother, Lady Fantasia La Premiere.
Oh, yes, 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 absolute sweethearts, all of them.
I don't think I've ever seen either of them without a beard. So
Mhm. Yes, yes, and Amber Ale really incorporates it into the look. It's actually really cool looking. We've got somebody here. I'm not quite sure what they
that's
mean
what
by
color,
their story.
whatever hair she's wearing, that's what color she does for the beard.
That's true. We've got somebody here by the name of James Lucid. I'm not sure what they're quite saying, but they say Fukushima wake up for sure. And that might mean something to you, I'm not sure, but that was their comment there.
Nope, does not mean anything to me.
Okay, might have to explain that, James, a little bit. Sam says, I love Amber. Because actually, some of our queens, I don't think you were living here at the time, they went around to certain places and like public places that didn't draw a huge crowd. Sam,
Drive drag.
yeah, because Sam did that. And they did like drive-by performances and stuff like that. And I thought that was a beautiful thing to kind of keep people's spirits up. And, you know, with everybody being so isolated, and I do bring this up quite a bit on the show, and it's not as a downer, but I mean, even our own local police force has put out a warning with the amount of suicide that we've seen, as well as the amount of attempts with all this isolation. So just a reminder out there, folks, if you're thinking about somebody or you know somebody's on their own or having a hard time, make sure to spend a few minutes and check in on them. Let them know you're thinking about them, please.
If you're having a time yourself, make sure you reach out to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I remember because Sam went to it. She told me about it. She said COVID drive-by drag show, and she actually took pictures. So that's how I seen, because I didn't know, even I don't get the newspaper or anything. So she had let me know that it was going on. And Amber, I think she took lots of pictures of Amber actually. There is something I wanted to ask you. I didn't ask you ahead of time. I didn't think about it till just now. But there's been a lot of controversy about drag queens before COVID going in and doing story hour. And I, personally, I don't think I would have had a problem when you or your brother were little with this. And I think people are making more of it than what it is. So, would you feel comfortable discussing that? Like, what's behind it, where it came from, and why is it happening? I think it's a great idea, but.
So I actually did it over the summer as a virtual story hour with Fort Francis Public Library.
Mm-hmm.
And so did my friend. I can't say. We'll call them Mr. Jack. I can't say their last part of their name, but their name is Mr. Jack.
Okay.
And we both did it because we were really going, this is great. Like, you're not just exposing children to drag, but it's making, like, you are and you aren't. Some people might ask, like, kids might go, are you a boy or a girl? It's like, well, right now I'm a girl, but I go out in public as a guy sometimes.
Mhm.
it was more of like a way to educate kids in a friendly environment in a way that they'd be feeling more comfortable. So it's like, hey, I'm reading them a story.
Mhm.
What do kids like? They like listening to stories.
Mhm.
And just because I'm dressed up as a woman or I'm showing up as a guy doesn't necessarily mean either thing. It's just kind of like, okay, cool, they're a person reading me a story.
Mhm. No, what I've seen and I don't agree with, because, I've always tried to expose you and your brother to many different people, many different ways of life. But I mean, and I've been talked about, actually, my youngest was actually on our host chat New Year's Eve party. He was part of the party for a while. He's got severe autism. So I think it's important, especially as small children, and I'm not telling people how to parent. What I'm saying is for kids to be exposed to all different kinds of people and, different backgrounds and different ways of way people present themselves. I think it makes it a little bit more acceptable for kids. Like,
Yeah, and that's kind of like the point of it, is also just like educating kids, making them know like, hey, this is something that exists. It's not
mhm.
just some rando person.
Yeah, I don't get into any drama or arguments online, obviously, about it, but I've been finding it's really, yeah, and I don't know if it's people that just don't understand what's behind drag or what. That's why I wanted to have you on here,
Yeah,
was to realize, I think people get this misconception about what drag is all about, and a lot of people are confused, say what transgender is versus, possibly dressing up in drag or the both of them together. And I think what people that haven't really dug deep enough into it or been open-minded about it seem to think, this is the argument I've been seeing, is that, having kids or having drag queens or kings go in and read stories to younger children, that you're going to make these kids transgender, or you're telling, that's not what this is about, right? It's exposing
about,
them to different people.
about education,
Mhm.
teaching them, this is normal. This isn't just some random thing that
Mhm.
it's literally something that everybody can do and anybody can do.
Mhm. Exactly. And it's the same thing even when you guys were growing up. Their father, my ex-husband, is half Japanese. Like, I remember I have an aunt that is actually from Swaziland and very dark complexion. My kids never asked about the difference in the skin or anything, because you never noticed that, because we never made a deal out of it. And in a way, and this is part of my show, is trying to promote positivity, is realizing it's okay to be different, or it's okay, to look different, or ask questions and understand and be exposed to that, so that in a way you kind of really don't notice any difference, right?
I'm not gonna lie. I literally tell people all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I have an aunt who's African Canadian, and they're like, what? I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. But you guys never asked, because she actually has very deeply complected skin, and they never ever noticed. They never asked. They never, because there was nothing presented about it that was odd or strange, right? And I think that the more that we expose human beings to different cultures and different ways of thinking, I really believe that it's going to create more open-minded, more loving and accepting adults. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
No, 100%. Like the thing is that people are rude and don't like change. But
Hmm.
it's like people need to realize it's not the 1960s anymore. Calm you, pardon my language. Calm your tits
Hmm.
and grow up. Like it is 20. It's now 2021.
Hmm.
Stop assuming things. Stop making a big deal out of. Oh my God, is that a boy in the women's washroom? Who freaking cares?
Hmm. Well, people have mixed, and you know what? But it was the same way growing up, that parents say around my age, when I was your age or younger, having very fixed ways of thinking and the way that they've been raised. But you got to realize too, and I was actually just talking to somebody about this last night. I was doing a reading, not online, offline, and kids really are like a sponge from the age of 0 to 7 years of age. And everything they live, everything they hear, a lot of our belief systems come from that age. A lot of it we don't even realize. Like, hearing, say, parents say money only grow, do you think money grows on trees or things like that? That's even where a lot of people develop their mindset about money, for example.
Mhm.
So that's why I think it's brilliant to expose kids. And again, it's very difficult with COVID right now, but to a lot of different people and experiences, and make it okay to ask a question, because I find that too, um, for example, I'd never been around elderly people, like really sick elderly people. And my cousin that was 2 years older used to volunteer at a nursing home. And I think I was about 11 when she took me there. I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never really seen somebody in a wheelchair. It's funny now that that I worked in the nursing field, but I'm saying I was never really exposed to that. That's why I think it's a great idea. And again, I'm not telling people how to parent, but if you're open to that, or even looking, say, as a parent or somebody that's more open-minded to looking at your own belief systems and your own, I always say to somebody, if there's a pet peeve that you have, or somebody says something and it really sticks with you and you just can't let it go and you're wondering why it's really touched a nerve, there's usually a message for you in it. If you sit down and you're quiet and you're honest with yourself and you kind of unpack it. For example, somebody I know had a disagreement with their partner, and they had called them a whiny baby. And it had really, really, really stuck with them. And they couldn't figure out why it was bothering them so much. And that's why I said, I can't tell you what that means to you. But when you're quiet, you got some time. Not everybody meditates, but even say before bed, or before you get out of bed in the morning, sit with that and really ask yourself, why does this bother me? And usually, you know what, you'll hear that inner voice that'll let you know exactly why it bothers you. But there's a message in there, if you will. Maybe there's something can be learned from that. Maybe there's something that occurred that you maybe had forgotten about and it just sort of triggered that. But there's always something in it, is what my point is. We have a few comments here. Zachman says, when I was a kid, there was a gay couple that lived across the street from me. Their relationship never crossed my mind. I was just more shocked at their extensive art collection, LOL. um, and Sam says, until I met you, Laura and Logan, I didn't know anything about drag. I heard about it a few months prior. Well, I'm glad. Now look at how much you like it, Sam. So I think that goes to say, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, Logan, that anybody, what, I think if you're open-minded about things, that if you just keep an open mind and, if you're not sure what it's all about, I always say knowledge is empowerment. Find out more about it. Like, for example, you came on here tonight, you're getting ready, you're explaining what you're doing. People are making comments and stuff, but if people have questions for you, you're pretty open about answering them, aren't you?
Oh God, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Question bit.
No,
Self censorship there.
no, Logan and I always say that he may look more like his father, but his personality is very much like mine. So he's pretty open-minded and pretty much an open book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess we didn't find out what James Lucid meant. If you're still there, James, we're trying to figure out what your comment meant there. I'm not too sure about it. So where are you at with things now, Logan? Because it actually takes you quite a while to get ready, doesn't it?
This is me taking my time. This has been almost 40 minutes, and I normally don't take 40 minutes to put my face on. I can get ready in under an hour now, and it's like, oh
Well,
my.
that's impressive. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't have the full get up, but like you're not going to be wearing an outfit tonight, too, right? What's that?
I don't have to wear a corset or anything, thank God.
Oh, yes, the dreaded corset, yes. Okay, so for a question, because you have a good sized foot for a man, your size, what, 13?
12.
12. Okay, so where does somebody find these things if they want to get started? Especially, like I said, you're a good sized guy. So where do you find these things?
So when I was looking for heels, the best place I found was Pleaser Heels. They carry shoes up to size 16 for drag, but it's like in women's sizes. So
Yeah.
a size 16 in women's is a size 14 in men's. So I wear a size 14 foot.
Mm-hmm.
They're like pretty affordable
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
for
there
the
is actually even wigs because, like I said, working as a nurse, I'm off, and I've talked about this before. I've got a serious work-related back injury, so I'm not able to return to work. I still keep on top of kind of what's going on in the field and stuff. But the reason I mention that is I also worked a lot, especially out in the community in palliative care, doing in-home chemo and stuff like that. And plus, I know people personally that have gone through breast cancer, losing all their hair. And it was pretty hard to find a nice looking wig or something that you would wear. Whereas nowadays, what's your thoughts? Look, they've got beautiful stuff
honestly,
out
you
there.
can look anywhere and find a decent quality wig, except for Wish. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bash. I'm just saying, if you want a good quality wig, do not order from Wish because you're going to get the cheapest Halloween wig that you could go buy at Shoppers or Walgreens, wherever the heck.
But with the, oh, go ahead.
On the other side of that, though, yes, sometimes if you were to go to Walgreens or Shoppers or what's the other ones, CHS or something, I don't know what it is. Anyways, you can actually kind of repurpose that into another wig. Say you bought like two of them, you could stack them, style them. Best person to look for styling tips is either look up Online Kind or James Mansfield. James Mansfield does everything, but Kind, if you have like a decent quality wig already and you want to look for new ways to style it, he's the one to go to.
The reason why I like James, I knew Zach would put it in there, CBS. I was going to say it, and I knew Zach would.
I was like, C and S, what's the middle initial?
No, I knew Zach what I was waiting for. He's my big helper. Whenever I forget something, he'll use, if I forget a word, I'll say, Zach, I'll know you'll know what it is, and he'll put it in the chat. I should remind people too, Zach is actually one of our premium subscribers to United Public Radio Network. So with that comes you get extra content. So all of us are still working on it, but some people are going to be creating some free classes if you're a subscriber. Some people are having ultra premium interviews with certain people. There's going to be all kinds of things. So you might want to check that out. You can check that out right when you find United Public Radio on YouTube. Just click, it'll say to become a premium subscriber. And I just love Zach. He's a real supporter of all my shows that I do here on Mondays and Tuesdays, even with our host chats. If he can be there, he's there. So we've all kind of gotten to know Zach. Actually, Zach has even co-hosted with me. He's in Arizona. And at the last minute, if I've had somebody cancel, and he's come on, and we've done some fun shows together too. So I appreciate all his support for UPR, and helps our network grow, have bigger and better servers. I'm actually going to be working with Joe Montaldo to be moving a lot of our archives and content to even more servers, because we pretty well are found all of these shows anywhere where there's talk radio or podcasts carried, such as iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean. I don't know, I'm probably forgetting a bunch of them, but anywhere. What's that?
Apple Music.
Yeah, well, I said iTunes. Well, most of it's not music, but it's like talk radio. So you're going to be on the podcast, right? But I guess, yeah, Apple Music, you might find it on
Apple
there.
Music carries a lot of podcasts as well.
What's that?
I said it carries a lot of podcasts as well, surprisingly, but make sure you keep tuning in here.
Why I keep saying what's that? Our Skype is acting up tonight. I don't know if we're getting a bunch of snow coming. We've had a bit, so it's cutting out when you're talking. So I should tell you that, because he always teases me that I'm going deaf. Yes, I am, compared to probably most people, but it's but it's cutting out. So that's why I'm asking him when he tends to move. I have the same mirror as you. That's another one of our favorites. Like for example, let's talk about him for a few minutes. Jeffree Star. I don't know if you guys have heard of Jeffree Star before. He doesn't really identify a gender, right, Look? Like sometimes he's dressed as one of the most beautiful women. He has a very beautiful makeup line.
I think he actually identifies as non-binary, so not really falling in between either.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he sometimes gets all done up in drag with a wig, or like does himself up with a wig, all his makeup, everything else like that. My eyebrows are melting. But yeah, so he'll do everything where sometimes he's just going around, oh, hey, I'm just regular plain old Jeffree. And then other times he gets all glammed up and it's like, oh, bam, whoa.
But he's still Jeffree. Like he doesn't pick a persona. He doesn't, Like I know I've watched because he's very transparent about it on his. A lot of these people we're talking about are on YouTube, and I do want to get back to James Mansfield. Um, but with Jeffrey, especially if he's got a makeup launch, he's absolutely stunning with some of the things he's wearing. Like he
Oh,
just launched, is it his money line?
Blood Money.
Blood money, yes. And so everything's green, emerald green kind of themed. And say you go to his website or you look at his promo pictures, it's just absolutely stunning in them. He teaches how to do makeup. He also reviews makeup. He does all kinds of things. He gets into a lot of drama too. But I think that's where the interest kind of lies in who he is and the mystique, right?
Mm-hmm.
With James Mansfield, I have to tell you guys, and I believe it was last year's Halloween Tripping the Void. I with Seraphine Hurley were on Tuesday nights. We dressed up for Halloween, and I had the cheapest wig you have ever seen. Like literally, and it's called tracks. You can see where the hair goes in. What's that?
It should have initially went in the trash.
It was so awful. It was all pastel and lilac and pink and blue. By the time I was done with it, it was incredible. I have to thank James Mansfield because he shows you how to take a $3 wig. I don't know why you'd even want to buy one, but say for Halloween. And it's still, believe it or not, still has all the shape to it. I can't believe it. So you can do that. Zach says, I went to Flagstaff last Friday for my anniversary. There was some snow left on the ground, so I gave Jamie her first snowball. Oh, she's never seen snow before? Oh, God. We have so much here. How about where you are, Logan?
Not as much as Thunder Bay does, because I've seen from pictures and
Mhm.
stuff like how much snow you guys have gotten.
I know. It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. Like, I don't think there is any room left to put snow anywhere. So, and being here in Yeah, here in Canada, well, in Ontario especially, we're on at least another week of lockdown being classified as the North. But the South, I think, still has 3 weeks. And
Yeah, the 28th, I think.
yeah, we are on lockdown like at the beginning of March, like when everybody went on lockdown. So it's crazy. Zach says, no, she's never seen snow before. Well, that's kind of a cool experience. And actually, snow is beautiful. It's not as cold usually when it snows. But the crappy part is having to shovel it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I threw out my back last week.
Oh, jeez. Oh. And Sam says, and that's more north than Thunder Bay, meaning where you are, I believe.
I
Oh no,
mean,
where she was too. She was more north. They just got back
yeah,
home just recently. Hmm. So where do you think drag is going to go? Say that we never get back, because this is happening in the music industry too, with anything that's in entertainment, kind of, isn't it?
I feel like it's gonna get back to some sense of normalcy eventually. Like the thing is it might require like I have an idea for June because with Borderland Pride here in Fort Francis, um, we're already kind of planning ideas of like, okay, what if we don't get back to a sense of normalcy? What can we do for Pride season? And I was thinking of a socially distanced drag show where it's, you have picnic tables set up outside.
Mhm.
Granted, that makes it almost more of a summer thing. Um, but you have picnic tables set up. The picnic tables are like 6 feet apart from each other. It's only like 4 to 6 people at a table. The queens have a stage area taped off where it's like, hey, you can't go up to the stage area because you don't want anybody to catch COVID. And then the queens would wear like a clear mask so you can still see their lips going through a lip sync.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because that is part of drag. If you've never seen a drag show, is lip syncing to music. That's why Logan was mentioning with some of the queens, that's a problem having shows online because obviously with copyright with music, it costs money to get the copyright license. So that's an interesting thing. You might want to, maybe some people don't know what Pride is. You might want to explain to them what Pride is.
Well, if y'all don't know what Pride is, June is basically Pride Month.
Hmm.
And Pride Month is basically where everybody celebrates the history and how far we've come of being in the LGBTQ community. For those who don't know, the first Pride March was actually at the Stonewall Inn in New York City in 1950 something, 60 something, with Marsha P. Johnson leading who was a trans woman leading the march, going through all of that, and she threw a brick at a cop's car.
Oh, did she? I
Yep.
didn't know that part. I didn't know that part. He said, oh, hang on. What do we got here? Oh, okay. Hi, Juan. How are you? So Juan's even joining in. He said he was going to check it out. He's a good friend of mine. Actually, I'll probably have him on next month, probably. I'm starting to fill for January already. I thought we'll kind of have something fun, for the beginning of the year. I think we all need it. Um, and then Zach Man said 1969. So I'm not sure. Is that maybe Zach is awesome that way. He always is. He'll always find the facts or whatever it might be. He will find the facts for us. And Juan, with you just joining us, this is my son Logan, and he's getting ready into character. We decided he would do it on camera so people could see what he's got it taking his time, and he's going to transform into Shaela Vie. And he said, I'm good, thank you. That meaning Juan. He said, I'd love that. Thank you. Great to be here. Well, we're glad to have you here. So we've got a bunch of Canadians in the house tonight. Unless you're there, I want to remind you, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to live the Angel Rock on 107.7 in New Orleans, Louisiana, or you might be listening on www.uprntalkradio.com. But come on over and join us on United Public Radio's YouTube channel. You can watch Logan transform into Shaela Vie. And also, you can join in the comments if you've got some questions. Maybe there's something you've always wanted to know about drag or anything like that. Feel free to ask. We're kind of an open book here. And I think it's really important to educate people, like we talked about a little bit earlier. And, keep an open mind. I think it's great. It's a lot of fun, right?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I snuck a jelly bean while you were talking.
I was wondering what you were eating. So, excuse me. Yeah, so isn't there a series out there, or it was like a mini series that was out there last year talking about how this all started and with Pride, and I think
There's a Netflix documentary on Marsha P. Johnson, and it's out on Netflix. I don't know if it's available in the US. That's the only issue. That's the only reason I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, because I remember seeing this, and I didn't watch it, but I had read about the trailer, and then it was coming, and I thought, what a great idea, because Pride is a huge thing. And actually, Logan didn't you make international news, your picture over in the UK and stuff, because
so
what happened?
From this past year with Emo, which is about half an hour outside of Fort Francis, the mayor specifically said, no, we will not be flying the gay pride flag for Pride Month, because basically he didn't believe in it. It was actually a 3-2 vote for no. Mm-hmm. And so Borderland Pride decided, oh, well, then in that case, we're just going to do a drive-by of all these cars and protest. So then, because I was standing in the back of a truck, thank you, Mike, me and my boyfriend actually made it on Pink News in the UK on their Snapchat story for Pride Month. They did this whole thing about like, oh, and the small, huh?
Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
And this, it was basically like the small town in northwestern Ontario is refusing to do Pride Month, so this is what another town did. And I was like, oh wait, that's us.
Yeah, that was you. No, I was going to say, but you guys weren't pushy. You weren't in people's faces. You just kind of did a little drive-by through.
No, that was the church people who decided to.
Yes, the church. Yes, we've had many discussions about the church. I always said it, some people need religion, and that's not a problem. Again, we're talking about diversity here. The problem I have is when somebody tries to cram their belief system down other people's throats, and you're not.
Mother, I was going to say, having religion is a lot like having a male anatomy piece. You can have one, you can be proud to have it, just don't shove it down my child's throat or mine.
Yes. Exactly. Well, that's why I wanted to make a point of saying that you guys weren't shoving your belief system down anybody else's either. You just kind of had a drive through. You had quite a bit of support along the sidelines too, if I remember correctly.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So people supported you, and like I said, you weren't knocking down doors and handing down pamphlets or anything. You just drove through. And like I said, a lot of people supported you on the sidelines. So I was proud of you that you did that. We've got a nice comment in here from Hermit Crab. So welcome, Hermit Crab. I think you were in our live earlier with, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, but I think you were there when we had our host chat a couple hours ago. He said, I appreciate some people have deeper struggles with this stuff. And ultimately, it's none of my business, yet we should all be grateful for what we have. Then the added, guys with nipples are a remnant of the gestation period where it was decided your gender. That's true. And either male or female, obviously, they put in brackets, mutations are different. They said, should we have a straight pride gathering or is it annoying and not your business? You're entitled to your opinion, definitely. Just as long as you don't want to be abused and shunned, right? And you're not hurting anyone. And you said, Hermit Crab finds it drag very unattractive. That's okay. You're allowed to your opinion. But that's what we're doing here tonight. So you may not be too excited by it, but you know what? What's that?
I said they might not be turned on by this.
Yeah, so, but you know what? I present all different walks of life here, all different types of people. We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And you know what? Sometimes I talk about conspiracy. Excuse me, I talk about the paranormal. Sometimes it's UFOs. Sometimes it's near-death experiences, whatever it is, right? I kind of, like I said, I try to present people from all walks of life. And in some people's lives, there's it doesn't matter what people are representing that I have on my show. I feel they make a change for the positivity in some people's lives. So that's why they're here tonight. Sam added, what are some common description words for drag? For example, beautiful, etc. She's wondering, what are some of the words you would use?
I can't use a lot of them on
He'll message you later, Sam.
Okay, so the ones that I can say are like a lot of them do become more popularized with Drag Race. So for example, like Monique Hart, she says gooped, like I was gooped, honey. Like she was just like blown away. Like what? Hold up. The other one that's very common, and Sam, if you hear me say this and I'm like, and you're like, say for whatever reason, I'm just like, hey, what's up? Another way of saying, hey, what's up as a drag queen is like, what's the tea? Which is like, what's your truth? What's going on? What's happening? Like, tell me everything that's going on right now.
I almost thought that she was saying, like, say she saw a queen or even a king and thought that they looked amazing. What would be an appropriate?
Yas queen, work it. That's the best you're gonna get.
There you go. I think my poster even tonight says work. I was looking for, I'm sure it's okay to use because it was on, I was looking for something you could use for a background. It was one of the backgrounds that was available actually from Drag Race. It's the work room and it says work, but work is spelled W-E-R-K. So, Hermit Crab said, all good, no problem. Then we've got Samson Nazarite, which I think is Juan, if I'm not mistaken. Juan, yes, it is. He says, I appreciate everyone's journey. And Sam says, okay, thank you. Yeah, because I think that's what she was asking, right? To use like the right terminology. And it's really addicting because I'm going to tell you this right now. The Dell, who was on before me, he's never really been interested in this, but I kind of got into one season of Drag Race and he was worse than I was. He remembered when it was on, he had to watch it, so it's just kind of addicting. It's kind of a fun type of thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially on that show.
I was going to say, like, especially with season 13 coming out, anybody who's like wanting to be familiar with it, like should like start watching now, because then it's like, okay, cool, you can go back and watch everything again. Mm-hmm. Oh, Lordy.
You still working? Are you getting tired?
A little bit, because I was like, I normally don't take this long now.
I know, but you're trying to talk too and do it at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and Sam says, and love the phrase with the T, like using T. What's the T?
What's the T? What's the T?
No, but she didn't say it. It's the way I worded it. She just put T in quotation marks.
Oh, okay.
So when does Drag Race 13 start?
It already started last week.
I have not been caught up in these type of things.
as a quick aside, one of my favorite queens, she's from New York. She's on the show. She's a front runner for the show, and I'm so pumped. Her name's Rose, and I like screamed. I was literally like, "Yes, my girl!" when she went on.
Well, you know what it is, though? I think if you support kind of a reality, it's not reality, but you know what I mean. It's based on people that otherwise aren't movie stars or well known, and it's a series. And unfortunately, in our house, the Dell gets into it's always been Big Brother. His favorite was Celebrity Big Brother UK because they have. I didn't watch a lot of the UK series, but was it really a lot different from what I understand from what it would be over on this side of the pond?
For the UK one?
Yeah.
Not really. Like most of it was still like the same idea. They did slightly better in different challenges. I found like there was ones that were just executed better. Like for example, Snatch Game.
Oh, you got to explain these and these
So Snatch
challenges.
Game,
People
if
don't
you
watch
haven't
it.
watched Drag Race, is basically like if you've watched the game show, the match game, where it's like there's the two guests and you have to try and match their answer. Except you're not trying to match their answer, you're trying to give the answer that you would give as a celebrity. So say I wanted to dress up as Melania Trump. I'm not going to be answering to try and match what Janet Jackson just said. I'm going to be trying to say what I thought would be good, would be a good fit. So
So
for
match
example,
game, they give you a phrase or a little scenario, and then in the game, the regular game, the contestant or the person, like you said, there's two guests, they have to answer what they think would be the right answer. And then there's usually a panel of celebrities that are also given time to answer while the contestant is figuring it out, and you have to match those answers. But the reason why I think Snatch Game is such a huge it's a fan favorite is because it usually has more famous queens as the contestants. They're just there as kind of comic relief, right? Or sometimes they will give an answer. But the contestants are up there in Snatch Game, and it's supposed to be one of the hardest competitions. And I could understand why, because you have to pick a character, look like a character, impersonate that character, including the mannerisms. But you also have to give answers that would be appropriate to the character you're playing, yet be comedic. Like apparently the number one big huge thing is to make RuPaul laugh, right?
yeah, if you can make RuPaul laugh on Snatch Game, you win. Like you're guaranteed at least a safe spot
And
because
it's hard. Like
make him
some
laugh,
people
you're
crash
screwed.
and burn. Go ahead.
I said if you don't make him laugh, you're screwed. Like there's certain characters I have joked slash half serious that they're cursed.
Mhm.
For example, you don't try to impersonate Beyonce. There's been way too many people who have tried, and lo and behold, they either wind up in the bottom or they wind up getting kicked off that episode.
Or RuPaul. You
Or
don't want to.
actually, no, they did. There was one person who did RuPaul. Like Trixie did it, and she did horribly.
Yeah.
But there was one person in season 3 who did it, and they actually did really good. It was Yara Sofia who did it, and she actually did really well, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah, but the thing is too, which is really challenging, I think, for drag race contestants, is you not only have to have the look, the wardrobe, the makeup skills, you have to have the comedy skills, you have to have the lip sync skills, the dancing skills, because you have and I'm going to screw it up. What do they do when there's two? Because in
Sing for your life.
Sing for Your Life, or when it's an all-star,
Lip sync for your
all-star.
legacy.
Yeah, so what you do is you win money and all stars, but like I say, there's a whole bunch of stuff that come with it. There's regular things that happen, and then the person that wins usually becomes fairly famous, don't they?
Yeah, and their booking fee is insane.
Hmm. Yeah, so it makes a huge difference. And there's been some real iconic stars, like you mentioned at the beginning of the show when we were talking about drag back in the day when I was your age and younger. Lady Bunny. She's still good friends with RuPaul and appears on the show, or Michelle Visage,
Yep.
and she's still on the show. She can actually get quite nasty at times, can't she, with her
Oh,
commentary?
please, she's enough. Please, on Canada's Drag Race, Jeffrey Boyer Chapman, he tried to be like Michelle level catty, and he went way too far. People called him out, sent him death threats, everything like that.
Oh
Like
my goodness.
he went way too far, but people were going way too far with the death threats.
You know what? I think that's a difference sometimes too. I think that that's why the Dell, as we call him on here, why he gets into Celebrity Big Brother or the UK, the audience gets to vote versus, say, in Canada. I know we're not talking about Drag Race, but the level of humor is different and stuff like that. And but the thing is, like, even if you're thinking of Simon Cowell, for example, and everybody would say, well, Simon Cowell is just saying what everybody's thinking. He could be pretty nasty. Now, I don't know if you've seen Simon Cowell as of late in the last few years. He's had a child, and I have noticed a massive difference in him. Have you seen the difference with him as well?
Oh yeah, no, he's entirely chilled out compared to what he used to be.
Mm. I think he finally gets it that you're dealing with somebody's child, right? I don't know if you can almost be more empathetic with the fact that you have a child and that you're literally crushing somebody's spirit with some of the things that they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Zachman says Jamie told me a story of a drag show where all the queens were impersonating Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton secretly joined the competition and lost. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh, that's great.
That would be like Celine Dion, because a lot of them pick Celine Dion, don't they? I've seen that.
Uh,
Um,
one has, and it was Brooklyn Heights, and she failed miserably.
I thought that there was somebody earlier. I'm trying to think who else. Like there. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just putting lipstick on.
What's the most common character that they usually pick for like Snatch Game, especially?
Honestly, one that's like, it's not necessarily one specific character. The one that like a lot of people tend to do is they tend to do previous Drag Race alumni.
Oh, yes, that's always funny. Yes, definitely. Or in the reading room, that's quite funny too. That can get a little nasty, but not too bad, right?
What, like when it's the library?
Yeah, the library. Sorry, not the
Oh, yeah,
reading
no,
room, the
sorry.
library.
When you go to read somebody, that means like you're insulting them.
See,
Sometimes
even I get the terminology wrong.
sometimes you're purposely being mean.
Mhm.
Um, for things specifically like when they're doing like the reading challenges, like you're trying to insult somebody, sometimes yeah, it can get a little mean. Most of the time it's in good fun.
Mhm.
So there's only been a couple of times where it's been like, okay, like you need to tone that down.
Yeah, but when you guys think about the level of talent, like there's some people that don't sew, and you're given like a challenge every week of you're also let know the themes that are coming every week, right? So that you can bring
So
like your costume.
I actually found out you get a checklist of an in like non-specific things, like oh bring something sparkly for this week, bring something
Okay.
then it's like then they obviously have to say Snatch Game, so they'll be like, bring your best celebrity impersonation. Other things will be like, oh, bring your best bring something for underwater, and they'll be like, what? And then you find out later on, oh, that's what that was for. Bring something gold, and it's like, okay.
Because they have like it's like almost like a walk off, a fashion show every week too. Like you think the level of preparation, like most people that talk about this afterwards say it is utterly exhausting and you're also sequestered too, right? Like you don't get to see your significant other or anything like that.
Nope, you're completely isolated. You don't have a cell phone. You don't have anything. You're just on your own, basically.
Hmm. So it's a lot of work. I mean, you've got to come up with a new costume every week. You've got to come up with a skit usually or a musical number. Like I said, there's just so many things that are involved with it. So these people have a lot of talent that do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed, and I hope that it gets to continue, even though with the entertainment world too, I don't really even know how they're going to figure out costumes here or costumes for concerts. I'm thinking of costumes as I'm watching you. Um, that's the scary part. So I like that you guys are already problem solving about Pride for next year already, because a lot of people really do support it up here. I'd love to hear from anybody in the States, like Zach. It sounds like you and Jamie are into it, but what do you find, especially being in the Arizona area or in, any of the state there or the lower states like that? Are you find they're pretty supportive or, oh, wait, plus he types in there. So I'll let you know, giving you a countdown. We're at 9:27 your time, 10:27 our time.
Yep. Don't worry, I think I'm almost done.
Are you?
I think
Okay.
so. The only thing I don't have is lashes, unfortunately, because those are in my drag bin.
Oh no, yeah, the lashes make it. I'm sorry, but the lashes really do make the look. They do. And the wig and the outfit. It's kind of like women, right? And I'm sorry, but when you're dressing as the queen, you're gonna have your outfit, you're gonna have your nails, you're gonna have all that stuff too, right?
See, and I hate wearing nails.
Do you?
Oh, I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
I need to do mine. Mine are falling off. And as you guys see, I never mentioned this. Shaela Vie does have a caricature. Well, I don't know. What do you call this? Your logo or
Portrait, picture, something. I don't know.
yeah, you commission somebody
My brand.
to, what's that?
My brand. I don't know.
Your brand. Actually, I'm wearing a Shaela Vie shirt. So I have his little brandy on there. So I thought I should do that since I'm having him slash her on this evening. So I want to know, what does anybody, I thought Sam asked a great question. I want to know if anybody else has any questions in the chat for Shaela Vie or Logan. And I want to know if, if you want to want anything to know more about this, or while we're talking, is there any new type of genres that you're aware of that may be coming out in drag?
Not that I'm familiar with. One that's kind of been a little bit more prominent is kind of like I don't know how to describe it aside from kind of like pop art, where it's like very vibrant and like you're not, and like abstracty, like you're not just going for looking like a woman, you're looking like an art, like a piece of art almost.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that one I've been noticing a little bit more.
Yeah, that started a few seasons ago, didn't it?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm trying to think, because I haven't watched Drag Race in a while. I don't watch much TV anymore. That's what the problem is. And now that my favorite show has ended, I don't even watch that. I was surprised I could even get a calendar this year. Most of you know what my favorite show is. It is Supernatural, but it's ended. So now I don't hardly ever watch. I'm usually doing research for shows or getting caught up on documentary stuff or whatever, or doing creating and crafting. Zachman says most people here in Arizona are pretty chill when it comes to supporting Pride. Phoenix, Tucson, and Bisbee have huge Pride celebrations every June. And listen to Zach wants to know. He says, "Love this shirt, Logan. Where did you get it at?" I'm assuming your shirt you're wearing.
Mine that I'm wearing, because oh shoot, I don't know if they have that in the States. I don't know if they have Marks in the States or what the
Mark's Work Warehouse, probably not. Yeah, probably not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can't even
got
think of
Marks
equivalent. He could still order it online though.
Yeah, it's just gonna be conversion and everything else. Okay, the mascara kind of fixed it.
Yeah, he looks better though with the lashes on usually. Yeah, Zach, you know what? Message me later and I'll send you the online store, because it'll be cheaper for you anyways being in the States. So because the dollar's better in the States.
Yeah, cheaper for them.
Mm-hmm. So you could do that. You could still order online, right? As I'm squirming around. So
I think I'm done.
I like the orange wig on you, but you wear different colors, right? You've got pink, you've got like
the pink one died. The pink one officially died.
Okay, well, you've got that orange one, you've got purple, you've got practically every color, don't you?
Yeah, I want yellow.
That's next. Okay, let's see you with the wig on. It's pretty hot with the wig on, isn't it? You might want to explain that to people. What is that netting? Because I remember I asked you when you first tried a wig on, what is the netting about?
So what the front is there is it's actually lace, and what you use it for is to kind of blend your natural hairline in with your wig line. Because like right now you can see it's like, okay, cool, right there.
Right.
But for me, I also haven't cut the lace on this wig yet because I haven't had a chance to wear it yet.
It's a beautiful wig. Did you get it from your usual place?
God, I feel like I could be a cam girl right now. Jesus. Shit. OnlyFans.com/Shaela Vie. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Please don't do that.
You know what's getting me
But
is that piece there, that netting right there.
yeah, so where I usually order from is from the UK, but there's actually a store on Amazon that sells really good quality wigs for pretty decent price, which I actually want to order from them so I can tell you about the quality. It's Lushy Wigs.
Mm-hmm.
And they have what looks to be very thick, very dense, very good
Nice.
quality. Apparently, like they hold style really well, and they're heat safe synthetic.
Okay, so what do you do with that lace on the side, right? Is that what you glue it down with normally, or
So like I would like cut this because hold on, let me.
it's driving me crazy looking at it.
So there's about 2 inches of lace here. You cut it to about half to 3/4 of what it currently is.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would be where you glue it onto your head. I should also technically be wearing a wig cap because to secure it, you'd have the wig cap down so all your hair is back here.
Mm-hmm.
You if you do it after you put your makeup on, some people like to take like a little bit of rubbing, like a makeup wipe and some rubbing alcohol and like clean off all the oil so that it actually sticks to your skin. And then what they'll do is blend the lace to your skin with like powder or foundation or something. And to glue it down, you actually use Prozaid, which is a prosthetic glue, Spirit Gum, which is another like kind of costumey thing. Some people use liquid latex, but that's a pain in the butt. Or the other one is they'll use that Gotta Be hairspray. It's in like the yellow tube.
I'm talking about, yeah. So
Yes,
Sam says probably the shirt Laura's wearing. The shirt I'm wearing, I think I made this one, didn't I? But
you did.
you have places that don't you that you can order your shirts?
I did.
Yeah. He hasn't really been performing. I can make them too. I do make shirts, so I can do that. You have to contact me on Facebook. We'll talk
Yeah,
about where to get a hold.
just hit her up for shirts unless you get a massive order.
Yeah, you can hit me up. I do that kind of stuff. So, sorry, I cut you off. You were talking about the Prozaid and all that stuff with the wig.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much done. Like, and then the Gotta Be hairspray, and then like to really secure your wig, and like this is why you wear a wig cap, or if you have like long hair, you put it in like braids back. You would and like pin it, and then you would take like hairpins and put like pin through your wig, but like she was saying earlier, there's like little tracks in here, so like you can see like my fingers go through. So you would try and like get it through there, so it goes into the wig cap and sticks. So that way, if I'm like shaking my head around on stage or doing some kind of like woo woo, it would be like making sure it actually stays.
Well, there's some, and you've done this before. I remember you have that you had two wigs, like it's a wig reveal, right? So how do you get, like I said, to make that one wig stick and the other one on top, and then
that is a job and a half. I did that once.
Yeah, and then the other one doesn't come off. So I've seen that happen.
It was like you glue the first one down, pin it down, make sure it's like really stuck to your head. And then like you kind of like loosely ball it up in like say like a messy bun or as flat as you possibly can. Get somebody to help you if you can, put the other wig on top of it, and then like you just try not to move too much.
But make it look like you're moving and then reveal it. Was it Sasha Velour that shaved her head?
No, she doesn't just shave her head. She actually is bald, but she makes sure she keeps it nice and shaved for because her mom has cancer.
Oh, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, so that's why she does bald drag. But what she had done is she'd taken that she'd taken like a nice big red wig and stuffed rose petals underneath it, and then she also stuffed rose petals into her gloves. And it was So Emotional by Whitney Houston. Every time it was so emotional, she'd pull off the glove and then rose petals flying everywhere. And then there was like the big chorus near the end where it was just, I get so emotional, baby. Yeah. And like taking off the wig.
Yeah, that wasn't an all-star competition, but it was really cool. But I was thinking, because, you know, I think as long as you kind of put some effort into it, and, you know, if you're going to do this a bit, you know, obviously you got to practice, like lip syncing, like even lip syncing. Remember when we first started watching, I was kind of like, how do you know the lyrics to the songs, but don't they give you like a big playlist and they don't tell
Oh,
you
so
what
what they
song?
actually do is, so I don't know what they did for 13 because 13's weird. I'm not going to give any spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But for what they'll do is let you know, okay, this is the song that's going to be, excuse me, sung this week.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys got to make sure you know it. And then whoever's in the bottom, like bottom three,
Mm-hmm.
they'll give each of them an iPod with the song on it so that they'll listen to it while they're backstage and untucked for like that hour or whatever, just kind of like going over the song, making sure, okay, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they do that like every week.
Okay, so say there's somebody out there watching this. Like I said, I know there's some people have said this isn't their thing, and that's okay. But say there is somebody that wants to get into this and say they're just going to start out as they're female, start out as a bio queen or, male bio king. And again, like I said early in the show, you don't have to be a member of the LGBTQ community to be involved in drag. Where's a good place to start? Like, how would you suggest
Um,
being asked to?
so if it wasn't COVID times, like let's pretend we're back in in Normalville where we're all wanting to get back to, we would be the best place to go would be go to the drag clubs. Anywhere that there's going to be a drag show, go to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the best place to learn. You're going there, meeting everybody, and then honestly, if there's somebody that you really kind of admire from the show, from that drag show that you're seeing in person, make sure that you like go up and say like, hey, you know what, like that was really cool, like I'm a really big fan. And I won't lie, some people aren't the nicest people when they have fans. I won't lie, some people aren't, whereas like other queens are like, oh my god, thank you, like I really appreciate that, like I'm like, I worked so hard on that, it's really great to hear the support. So that's the other thing, don't be discouraged if somebody doesn't like you. Like
Yeah.
let it roll off your back, water off a duck's back.
Like I always say to people, I always say it doesn't take the sting away. But really, when somebody says something mean or they're nasty or whatever it is, it's more really about them than it is about you yourself. Again, kind of talking about, some of the issues of something really, really irks somebody yourself and you're not really sure what it is. I've just found from, personal experience as well as, working with many different people. And it's the person that's affected by it that has to spend that time sort of unpacking it, if you will, and seeing what the message really is in there for
Yeah,
you. Mhm.
like that's
Can
the
really,
thing, it's like you're gonna, and if you're one of those people who it's like, hey, I'm not ready to go out to clubs yet, or like I can't because I'm not of age, the best place to go is YouTube. Or like just make sure that you're being careful, like not everybody is a predator, but especially on the internet, like if you're going to be reaching out to strangers, make sure that you're like, it's like a reliable source, hopefully,
mhm. Or verified or what have you.
or
Now,
verified or whatever.
didn't RuPaul again, and when we were back in regular times, have and I'm going to give the wrong name. My brain's not working. He had one in LA and one in New York, where it would be a week of queens and all kinds of stuff.
Um,
It's not a
oh,
conference.
DragCon.
Thank you. Yeah, DragCon. Again, that's probably put on hold as well, which is really unfortunate because you could go and, of course, like any con, doesn't matter whether it's Comic Con or anything, you have to pay for everything that you go to. But you could see some of your favorite queens, have Q&As, have, a lot of them would go with their merch there, all kinds of things, right?
Yeah, and it was honestly like a wonderful experience if you could get out to go,
Mm-hmm.
because that'd be a really good place to kind of get some ideas as well. Sorry, I'm
I'm
trying to highlight while I'm talking here.
I don't know who this is in here, but they know Joe. So Hermit Crab, it's like fishing. You throw your line in and play the game. Aha, this is Hermit Crab. And then they said, wasn't Queen the best? Well, not everybody's gonna know who Queen is. Yeah, a lot of people do, but I hear what you're saying. And then they said it's Joe's fault, I swear. So everybody likes to pick on Joe. Poor Joe. Joe, there's somebody in the chat here that's picking on you. I'll make sure I'll let you know who. I'm winking. Joe's a good sport. And we all love Joe. And I've mentioned about Joe before. Joe owns UPRN. He makes my job easy. I can just sit here and talk. I don't know how he does it because he works a regular day job, runs a really great construction company out in New Orleans, Louisiana, and then he produces all of us. So I'm so grateful for him. He's really
Yeah, now
awesome.
he's got to deal with the other half of the family. My bad.
Yeah, because we were saying that before we came on air that Logan and his boyfriend are planning they're able to travel to go to New Orleans. And I said, what? You're going to get to go down there and probably meet Joe before I even ever get down there.
Probably.
Joe's grown up in New Orleans. He has that great New Orleans accent, and he's told us many stories off air about, where to go and the great best places for food and all kinds of things. So he knows what he's talking about. So, but that's what you need when you go anywhere, right?
Yeah, like
So,
that's the thing. You need somebody who's gonna tell you like, okay, this is where to go. So like even if you know people in like another city that you're friends with or that you're close with, honestly, just even asking somebody like or like posting on Reddit or Twitter or SnapMap or something, whatever, what have you, reaching out through like some kind of social media to get, oh God, I look like your mother. um, sorry, I just did a face and I was like, oh God, I look like your mother.
the Red Dragon.
Yeah.
That's my nickname for her.
Yeah.
No, but that's
But no, reaching out to somebody that you know in the area and being like, hey, is there somewhere around here that's like good to go to for drag or for a gay club or like anything realistically? Like I know when we went to Duluth, was it 3 years ago now? Yeah, 3 years ago almost. Like I had asked the one girl at Alta and I was just like, hey, like, is there anywhere around here that does drag or like a gay club? And she's like, no, but like if you go over to Superior, there's this one called The Flame or something, and she's like, it's not like the greatest, but I was like, okay, I guess I could do that.
some people may not know where Duluth is because there's a Duluth, Georgia, or if you're listening on the other side of the world.
Minnesota, y'all.
Yes, where we live, we're in Canada, we're in Northwestern Ontario, but we are actually about 45 minutes away from the Minnesota border. And if you might happen to know where Minneapolis, Minnesota is, we're about 6.5, maybe 7 hours north of Minneapolis. There you go. Yeah, now it looks a little more dramatic because it's not such a close up. Like I said, the eyelashes really do make a difference and the wig. I do love that wig. That wig is beautiful. So
Yeah, gotta tame her a
since
little
we're
bit.
still talking about some of the equipment, how do you what about a wig? Because your mother has looked after some of your wigs, say care of a wig even. And this will go for people that have wigs, even God forbid if you're going through something like chemo or cancer or whatever. What have you done before?
Honestly, best way to store them is store them on a head if you're not using them. Like if you have
Not
either
a
like
real
a styrofoam, not a real head, or like on a styrofoam head, or like I have one of these like hanging wig. I have a hair on my screen that's bothering me. It's like a hanging wig holder that my boyfriend actually got for me like last Christmas.
Mhm.
And he thought I didn't like them, but I used them both.
Mhm. No, but even like washing them, because in the
Okay,
beginning,
washing is not something I'm good for recommending
his
because I am
mother is much better.
yes, but no, like suggested like baby shampoo or if it's like really dry and ratty, like letting it soak in fabric softener like and water mixture like 1 to 4 or 1 to 3.
I have
So that,
skewed some of yours. So, and what I've done, there's a, and again, it's hair care that I found here. It's somebody local. It's lovelybody.ca. They have a website with beautiful stuff. And really, there's no detergents in the shampoo. It's made with coconut salts, actually. And I've used that on a few of the wigs that were just a disaster. And the conditioner, they've turned out beautiful, right?
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Damn it, I made my cheeks way too low. I'm just looking at that now. Ugh.
Well, it was kind of hard too because you were talking, like you said, normally you get ready in under an hour.
Well,
So
yeah,
Hermit,
because like normally what I do now is like when I'm contouring, like I don't go down as low. I'll like go
mhm,
out and then up, like flick up, so that it
yep.
gives like a little bit of a higher cheekbone. And yeah, now I just look like, how you doing there, doll? Oh,
You need to put your wig on. So Hermit Crab says it was a Queen lyric reference, Hammerfall. I don't know, man. Well, I know Queen, but I don't know if I've heard that song. And then he said, hey, seriously, good for you, mate. You be whoever you want to be. That's awesome. That's really sweet of you. You know what? Actually, I used to do, and I've mentioned it before on another previous network that's no longer together. I used to do a show every night, Monday through Friday. I did have you on, but we weren't on video, so people didn't
Oh, it
get
was
to.
just audio.
And we talked about it, like, was he going to be in drag already or get ready on camera? And I said, well, why not get ready on camera? Then people could see kind of what you go through and what you have to do.
It is a
So
process, y'all.
what's that?
It is a process, y'all.
It is a process. Yes, it is. And then never mind, because you're pretty hairy, you have to de-hair yourself. It's quite a job. I think it's quite a commitment, but it's
Hmm.
a lot of fun too, isn't it?
Oh, it's so worth it all in the end.
Hmm. So that's what I'm saying. I guess that kind of applies to anything, folks, because we get a lot of people too in the paranormal or the UFO community or whatever it is. And, the especially seeing stuff on TV, it's again, you gave some good advice, like to be careful who you're contacting online. But we find a lot of people try to emulate what they see on TV. And I hate to tell you, probably most people know, but reality TV is not reality TV.
Yeah.
So I always say, no matter what it is, if it's you want to learn more about paranormal stuff, or you want to learn more about the equipment or investigations, or you want to find out more, say, about UFOs or drag, or I would be considered a light worker. Somebody actually asked that in the host chat tonight, that they feel like they were losing their gifts and how could they get them back. So the best thing to do is, and I
Practice,
suggested this,
practice, practice.
well, practice, but also to find somebody that mentors people. See, take a look at their work, or if they've got like a YouTube channel or whatever. I've got a YouTube channel. Most of us do that do this kind of stuff, and see what they work like, see what their energy is like, their personality. And if you feel like that's somebody that you really feel drawn to, or that you might feel good about working with or connecting with, reach out to them. Because most people, at least I found that have been doing it for a long time, you do need to bring other people into the community. And if they're open to learning, that's the best way to learn about stuff versus just sort of trying to find your own way. You end up, I guess, avoiding a lot of mistakes that you'd make otherwise on your own, right?
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
honestly, I wouldn't have learned half the stuff I've learned without like Erica or my friend teaching me how to do makeup because frankly, when I tried, I just looked like a peacock.
No, she did. She used to come and do your makeup, and that was kind of good. She was almost like teaching somebody to walk. She'd come, and then a couple times she wasn't quite able to come. It was a panic the first time, remember? And then now you've developed your own style, right? So that's
Yeah.
kind of how you do it. Makeup's not that hard. A lot of people I've met, women too, that will say, I have no idea how to put makeup on, but it's almost like painting, and you get used to kind of the shape of your eye, the shape of your face. You learn about contouring, and like I said, there's lots of really great videos out there, and I find both are applicable because I do painting, I do a lot of different artwork, a lot of different crafts. They're both very similar. You learn about color, and that's what it's all about, right? You just trial and error and try it out, right, Lo?
Oh yeah, no, and like that's the thing with makeup is it's literally just paint. You can wipe it off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For
Start
example,
over
makeup
again.
wipe right here.
Mm-hmm. Like actually, I think it was for New Year's we did it. The Dell wanted to try, I called it guy liner. So we put it on him. You couldn't tell.
Oh,
So
you
I,
could tell.
well, you could tell, and he let people know he did it, but I mean, it wasn't like a black line right across. But what I'm saying is the same thing, that you know what? I think the message here is, do you be proud to be you. And you know what? Again, if it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but you know what? I don't care what people say. Not everybody is going to like everybody. And it doesn't matter what you do. You just try and be the best version of yourself that you can be. Uh, Try to be kind to people. And, you know, like I said, just hang in there. The one thing I'm going to remind people, because I think it's really important right now as things are still stretching out into this new year, things are going to get better. I believe that. If you're having a hard time, please reach out. You mean more to more people than you could possibly realize. So you may feel very, very alone, but believe me, there are people that love you, there are people that care about you, and reach out if you're having a hard time. Even if you just send a message and say, "Hey, are you free? Just need someone to talk to." If you can't even find somebody, it's the middle of the night and you're feeling really anxious, and you're feeling desperate or suicidal, please, please reach out to. There's many suicide hotlines you can talk to. We need to stick together. We need to stand together. We need to unite. We need to support one another to get through this because we're going to come through on the other side, but we got to be there together and unite. I think that's my message for tonight. I do want to add, Sam says, I don't know nothing. She says, I don't paint either, haha, and I'm not artistic. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It's an old saying, but whether you say you can or you can't, you will. Which means if you say I can't paint, you'll never paint. If you say I'm not artistic, you'll never be artistic. But the thing is, all it takes is to try, to start. That may not be one of your most famous, fabulous gifts, but you may find something else in the process. If anything, just doing it for relaxation. Say you're stressed. Nobody says you're going to be,
The
one of
next
these.
Picasso.
I was thinking Picasso, but Picasso, if you look at some of Picasso's work, it literally looks, some of them, like a 3-year-old painted on, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So that's, I guess, what I'm saying is all you got to do is start. So that's part of the message. And I'm not trying to be overly positive tonight. It's just, I think everybody could use a little bit more love. Agree to disagree. I've never seen a year that people have been so fractured when it's come to families, it's come to friendships, a lot of hatred, a lot of anger, a lot of fear, and a lot of anxiety. So we really got to pull together and unite here. And I mean this globally because one person can make a difference, and a bunch of us pulling together can really make a difference for the positive. So I just want to add one more thing here, and then we're almost out of time. Hermit Crab says, personally, I like being in control. It's like painting the Mona Lisa, and he went laughing my ass off. And then Sam said, I feel like my kid's artwork is better than his, I think she said, but I'm biased. I think she's joking.
Picasso.
Yo, Picasso. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. Trying to keep contact on here, talking to Logan here. I want to thank Logan for being here tonight. Shaela Vie. Where can people get a hold of you? They want to ask you more about drag or find out more about what you've got coming up or anything like that.
There is my Instagram, which is Shaela Vie, ShaelaVie, or my Twitter, which is the same one but with an Instagram or with an underscore between La Vie. So Shaela _V. Everything else you can find me on Facebook. You can Tumblr. I don't know. There's a little bit of everything everywhere. Just look up Shaela Vie and you'll find me somewhere.
I'm glad. So Hermit Crab wants us to know that they're not a meanie. We didn't think you were a meanie. We're glad you hung in there with us tonight. And as Sam said, thank you. I'm so glad you guys hung out with us in the chat room tonight and that you joined us. And again, I want to thank Shaela Vie. If you ever want to get a hold of me to book a reading with myself or any crystal Reiki healing sessions, mentoring, speaking of mentoring, you can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I also have 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things within the paranormal. We've got quite a conglomerate, quite a few professional people from all over the world in that group too. And then I have the Angel Rocker Tribe for anything that has to do with light work, energy work, power, positive thinking, law of attraction, things like that. We'd love to have you there too. That group's grown quite a bit. Between the two of them, there's almost 2,000 people. I also do have a YouTube channel, which is what is it? YouTube.com, and you just look for The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. I will be back tomorrow night. Normally, I do it with my PIC or partner in crime and bestie, Seraphine Hurley. I'm not sure if she will be back or not, but I will be back tomorrow night. That is from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time or 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you tomorrow night. I send you all so much love and light, and thank you so much for everything. Now we'll see if Joe shows up or is probably still live. He likes to do this to me. I will let you know while we're waiting.